Bunnyhoppor! Final match!
Welcome everybody to the grand finals here in the Hearthstone Championship Tour Summer Championship. My name is Frode, I'm joined by Brian Kibler. And part of the reason for that dramatic intro is because I love the crowd here at Blizzard Arena. Some of these people have been here since 8 in the morning, lining up even earlier. And Kibler, almost 12 hours later is when we're going to see the resolution of this tournament.
Yeah, this has been an absolutely epic day, especially for these players who've been battling through the entire time. But the fans have been loving it and just cheering them on. It's an absolute awesome atmosphere inside here.
You guys rock, and the players that we have coming up here also rock at Hearthstone. Let's go ahead and meet our first player. Please welcome to the stage, from Poland, it's A83650. His opponent, the Iron Man of Hearthstone, it's Bunnyhoppor. All right, well, part of the reason why I call Bunnyhoppor Iron Man is because, man, has he played some long series, and he has endured through all of them, and it doesn't look like he skips a beat. Even though he kind of locks in, he hasn't shown any sign of physical fatigue, at least from looking at him.
I mean, we are feeling the fatigue.
Yeah, we were going literally insane while waiting for the series we're going. Just because we were really antsy to cast the finals, we amped up on the caffeine, we're ready to go. Now we're like, man, can you just sneak us some more caffeine on the side as we get ready to go?
TJ was saying that Bunnyhoppor may have played the longest series of his life. I'm like, I have faith he can play longer series in the future. This man is just a machine, just sitting there, calculating every single little thing.
Yeah.
He takes his time on every turn. It may be turn 2. All he can do is totem. It's like, all right, I got to figure out what I'm going to do for the next 6 turns. All right, I'll totem.
There's a... That's exactly what's going to happen. I do want to say a few more things about Bunnyhoppor that we didn't get to say on our most recent episode of Talkstone before the grand finals. This is a playoffs rematch from the Summer Championship, which is really... Or sorry, Summer Playoffs, excuse me, which is really cool. Another thing, too, Bunnyhoppor is one of the few people in Europe who has never missed the playoffs. So from the very beginning, since we opened up the system back in 2016, that anybody can qualify based off that point structure, he has always made every single playoffs, and there's very few people who can call out to the name.
One of the things that's so impressive about that, too, is that he is a PhD student. During this entire time, he has been balancing his competitive Hearthstone career with that PhD study.
Yes.
And he is, in fact, going to finish his PhD this summer. It would be very convenient if he just qualified for the World Championship. He's like, you know what? I can now entirely focus on the PhD. He's already done that. He has qualified for the World Championship. But if he can just, earn the title of champion before he earns the title of PhD, that'd be just icing on the cake.
He did tell us that his main motivation during the interviews was to focus on his PhD after qualifying for the World Championship. And it's largely because, as the casters were mentioning, and this will be our last passing comment on it, Bunnyhoppor's a natural. He says he doesn't like to play more than 4 hours a day. And he's this good.
For him, that's one match.
that's like 2 taunt Druid mirrors.
He has played 4 hours like last match.
Oh, man.
Anyway, but we are into the first game. As we saw earlier, the Miracle Rogues were banned, so it will be a control slog in this finals here. Bunnyhoppor, though, with the control Killer of Shudderwock Shaman as his first deck against A8's Combo Priest.
Yeah, that's right. The combo largely generates off of the Mind Blast with Shadow Reaper Anduin in the late stage of the game. Of course, there's other forms of combo through Inner Fire, or say you want to use Twilight's Call with some cheesy Valen combos or Malygos. But regardless of how it is, Priest likes to control the board, draw a bunch of cards, play their Death Knight with Shadow Reaper Anduin, and burst your opponent down, maybe with the assistance of Alexstrasza.
Yeah, we actually saw a little bit of a difference in the stats between these 2 players. Bunnyhoppor, as you mentioned, had played in every single playoff. This is the first time A8 had actually qualified for championship. Bunnyhoppor, previous championship experience as well.
Yeah, and part of the reason, again, why we and I promised I said I wouldn't make it last passing comment, but I have to say, Europe is so hard to qualify for playoffs. It is, a good 10 or so points, sometimes even more than that, for the average baseline floor to get into the playoffs, let alone qualify for top 4. There's a list of killers and assassins, and Bunny is able to do it every single season.
What to do?
what to do indeed. It will be Mana Tide Totem for Bunnyhoppor on turn 3. One of the very key cards to let him dig to that combo. A8 does have a Duskbreaker in his hand, so he could coin that out and clear off this Mana Tide as well as the Pyromancer before they either get out of hand.
Yep, and A8 can continue to bide his time if there's board presence or board pressure, but drawing cards is ultimately what he doesn't want to see. So is he tempted, perhaps, to coin out this Duskbreaker, shut down his opponent's card draw source, and hey, take a little bit of pressure off the board is nice too.
Yeah, the damage doesn't really matter that much, but it does contest his minions. That's what the Pyromancer from Bunnyhoppor does more than anything, is preemptively contest what A8 might be playing that is not a Duskbreaker.
Bunnyhoppor has 2 sources of card draw, but the Acolyte of Pain scales really well into the late stages with Volcano. This is a matchup where you don't mind utilizing that as your removal because Priest is not as minion heavy compared to a lot of other decks you have to be worried about. Still has some threatening minions though with Twilight Drake and Primordial Drake, but he still has Hex and Nurse Charm.
The Black Knight is a card that can line up well against the Primordial Drake, but that is a card A8 is of course aware of, so will likely play around even if it is reduced in cost. I actually would not be super surprised to see Bunnyhoppor just play out the Black Knight as a 3-cost 4/5 to contest the board for that reason, because it's so easy for A8 to play around otherwise.
Yeah, there's only, what, 2 targets you hit with the Primordial Drakes with Black Knight. Otherwise, you'd be giving up some important tempo. But that's assuming Bunnyhoppor doesn't have better plays in the funnel.
Does not have very much to do right now, though the Powered Shield on the Duskbreaker makes playing a 4-attack minion less attractive. It is still just basically a Chillwind Yeti here.
I wonder.
Sometimes Chillwind Yeti helps a lot, especially against a class like Priest. Can't deal with those 4-attack minions very easily. But at the same time, is Bunnyhoppor really pressured to do anything this turn?
He sort of is pressured in this matchup because the fact that A8's deck is looking to burst kill him. So the damage adds up every time a minion gets to connect multiple times. That makes it so that he is more pressured to use, say, Healing Rain prior to an Alexstrasza coming down. And that's a sequence he would rather go the other way around.
There is little time. I see.
Look at that, Bunnyhoppor willing to commit the Glacial Shard. I mean, and there's concern about his hand space issues if he ends up saving his Acolyte for Volcano as well.
One of the big things, actually, that I somehow managed to gloss over, Bunnyhoppor has his Ancestral Healing in his hand. So he can combine that with the Black Knight to kill anything.
Oh, yeah.
So they're playing that out as a Chillwind Yeti doesn't really make any sense, given the presence of that as essentially kill any of A8's minions. I do expect that we'll see Bunnyhoppor, especially at this point, save the Acolyte to combo either with the Volcano or perhaps a Wild Pyromancer, especially because A8's deck does have Cabal Shadow Priest, and he doesn't want to run the risk of giving away his source of card draw to A8 rather than getting it himself.
Yeah, definitely something to keep in mind. Both decks want to draw as many cards as possible. And A8 doesn't have much good stuff going on here. He has a really nice combo with Twilight Acolyte and Cabal Shadow Priest, so he can hold on to it. Instead, looks like he's just going to try to dig Shadow Visions until he finds the card he wants.
And I think the card he wants is just Mind Blast. He is just looking to assemble the burst damage here. It is not as valuable as it could be, simply because Bunnyhoppor's deck does have those 2 copies of Healing Rain in order to keep him alive, but that's how he has to win the game. He can't win a long, grindy value game because Bunnyhoppor is going to eventually combo kill him if he gives him too much time.
Yeah, that's great matchup knowledge. And again, for people watching maybe a little bit later into the tournament or perhaps over on VOD, A8 said he brought Control Priest largely because it was his most comfortable deck. He's got a lot of experience on it. He says it's something that he knew he wanted to bring from the get-go, and he tried a lot. And you can see that he's very experienced based off some of the matchups he's played all weekend, going up against traditionally tough matchups like Tantru and still making it out on top.
Yeah, he has found ways to navigate a lot of different matchups in ways that are not necessarily just straightforward, and that is a hallmark of a player who has a lot of experience in the deck. Bunnyhoppor finding that Volcano is actually quite strong here. It allows him to potentially much cheaper combo with the Acolyte of Pain if he wishes, as well as represent board clears that may not be obvious to A8 based on the mana he has available. It's actually also using the Earth Shock here from Bunnyhoppor is a little bit of a heads-up play, both because, well, he's taking out the minion, but also going into A8's turn 6, which is the first opportunity he would have to play a Skulkengeist, which would just get rid of the Earth Shock from Bunnyhopper's hand if he decided to try and hold it onto it for something more powerful.
Yep, really good point. And, you know, we've seen the Skulkengeist basically stop a lot of those important cards, Dark Pack, Naturalize, Cold Blood, and sometimes Earth Shock's really useful, especially if your deck's built around dragons like Twilight Drake.
It's going to hurt a little bit for A8 here. He decides to play the Skulkengeist, ends up having drawn a Power Word Shield, so he is the one who loses a card from his hand.
Yeah. Yeah, that actually is very painful, considering that that Power Shield is very crucial to what you want to do, which is be drawing cards and get closer to your win condition.
And I wonder if, you know, perhaps A8 could have taken his time a little bit more here, but at the same time, he, again, has to be the aggressor. He needs to be the one who is putting pressure on Bunnyhoppor and getting, you know, some damage in with his minions and trying to actually end the game, which is pretty difficult if you just pass on turn 6. I suspect that he's looking to save his Cabal Shadow Priest for something a little bit more valuable than a Searing.
Can this go on? How long can this go on?
One more turn until Acolyte Volcano, very wisely not toteming to increase the health of his board in case his opponent went very wide at this moment.
Yeah, this is definitely a sign of a player who has a plan in mind. A lot of players just kind of mindlessly hit their hero power button and, you know, well, I have my hero power, I have 2 mana, I'm going to use it. That's often a mistake in the Shutterbuck Shaman deck, or frankly in many controlling Shaman decks that have Volcano, because that hero power doesn't do very much, whereas adding that additional health to the board can hurt your own removal prospect.
Yep, so Bunnyhoppor has that Volcano guaranteed with Acolyte if he trades in the Serenite Chain Gang. And I think that's kind of what he's been gearing up for with his state of his hand, because it's very reactive. You have 2 Volcanoes, you have the Black Knight, 2 Hexes. Got to draw more proactive stuff. That is one of the big downsides of this version of the deck that doesn't play, you know, Sandbinder or other cards that help tutor out specific cards that you're looking for to ensure that you have the Shutterwalk combo.
Yeah, we've seen Bunnyhoppor play quite a few games that have gone to fatigue as he's trying to find the exact perfect combination of cards to finish off the game. And Volcano certainly helps quite a bit in doing that.
Oh, actually, I forgot the spell damage from the Volcano. 16, which 16 held on board, so perfect white doesn't even have to trade in.
3 cards drawn thanks to the individual damage of that Volcano. 3 times an Acolyte of Pain. Finds a Mana Tide Totem and another Acolyte of Pain, so can just continue chaining that card draw in one way or another.
Beautiful shot of that Year of the Raven trophy will be given to the winner of this seasonal championship, along with $50,000. Dave just playing that Primordial Drake to get some semblance of tempo. It is his last dragon to hand, though, so Twilight Acolyte gets deactivated until he draws another dragon. That is a slight downside, but there's not too many minions you really want to steal that you can't already steal with Cabal Shadow Priest.
There's a discounted Black Knight plus either a Mana Tide or a Life Drinker here available to Bunnyhoppor. He has to be cognizant of the way that A8 has played out his cards this game. There's been a lot sort of sitting in his hand. A8 is playing a deck that has a lot of situational cards that may sit in the hand, like Mind Blast and Psychic Scream, but Cabal Shadow Priest must be at least a bit on his mind.
Yeah.
However, the Mana Tide comes down and Shutterwalk shows up, so A8 is definitely on the clock, only a grumble away from being very close to comboing, and if he does find the Murmuring Elemental, that's all she wrote.
Yeah, so 2 more cards for Bunnyhoppor is what separates him between being able to get a guaranteed victory or floundering and hoping A8 doesn't kill him. But A8's been pretty slow on the draw, but with Wild Pyromancer, Northshire Cleric, and Divine Hymn, there is opportunities to draw cards in the future. Right now, it seems like A8's priority is to remove Bunnyhopper's ability to dig deeper into deck.
I mean, if he only had that Powered Shield, you know, he would be able to get a pretty powerful chain draw available that turn, but now he does not. That's Murmuring Elemental, so we are a grumble away from Bunnyhoppor assembling the complete combo that is unstoppable.
The crew's almost assembled.
I wonder.
I mean, he still has to play things like Life Drinker anyways. I think like traditionally right now in this position, if you didn't have like Shutterwalk and other cards, you'd probably look to once again try to fit in an Acolyte Volcano play.
He's got a lot of cards in his hand, though.
But you're kind of you're using
Look
two
at
of them to draw
Agatha here.
3.
He is gonna Acolyte Volcano. Yeah, with the discount Volcano too, it lets him actually squeeze in another card here with the Life Drifter play potentially. This is just digging through his deck. Fog Shaper is picked up, as well as the Chain Gang, so a lot of ability to add to this board. A8 has just not been able to get anything going. Bunnyhoppor has churned through his deck. Look at the different index sizes. 15 cards, 14 now for A8. 6 cards for Bunnyhoppor. He has outdrawn A8 by 8 cards this game.
However, Shadow Reaper Ending was drawn, and if Grumble is the 30th card in Bunnyhopper's deck, we're even close to that.
It is possible. There's actually no healing rains in Bunnyhopper's hand so far. There is the Life Drinker, there is Hagatha, so there is quite a bit of tools available to Bunnyhoppor to buy him some time if A8 just pulls the trigger and goes offensive.
And more importantly, Bunnyhoppor also has some tools to potentially draw that Grumble with that Special Healing and Fog Shaper, which is perhaps the only time that I'll say, like, wow, that actually ended up being really good.
Well, and with the cards remaining in Bunnyhoppor's deck, 2 of those cards are Healing Rains. So Bog Shaper into Ancestral Healing into Healing Rain. That's
boy.
Grumble. But I think there's too many cards in his hand for him to Murmuring Grumble here.
Right.
He has the Ancestral Healing, but I still think that this actually prevents him from Murmuring Grumble, right? Because this is his 10th card. Ancestral Healing, Murmur, Grumble means that...
It means he gets back 3 cards and he's used
actually, no. This does work. This does work.
Yep.
Because of the fact that he can play the 0-mana Ancestral Healing first.
And that'll be the key, because he doesn't actually need any other cards.
Right. This is everything he needs. He can Murmuring, he can Grumble, and that will leave him in a situation where he has every single tool he needs. He still will want to play the Life Drinker to actually have the damage combo, but he has every single piece that he needs to go off with Shutterwalk.
Right. A lot of other things are just kind of stall mechanics or draw to help get you deeper into the deck. I mean, if Bunnyhoppor burns Healing Rain, I think that's the most painful one, but that game might be resolved by then.
At this point, I don't think it matters. I don't think A8 can really assemble enough damage over the next couple of turns. He does have the 2 Mind Blasts. All right, he is going to try and dig here. So he actually has to deal with this Grumble too.
True. Another.
All right, that's 3 Mind Blasts.
And I mean, that's starting to get to some scary levels of damage too for A8. Because, you know, 4 Mind Blast means you get to 22.
4 Mind Blast is 22. We have found 2 over the course of these turns. And there hasn't been a Life Drinker yet played by Bunnyhoppor. So the Shutterwalks do not actually mitigate the damage.
There's actually just so many cards in his hand.
He's got a lot.
Yeah. And
there is the awkwardness that if he has too much stuff, he can potentially not have the Shutterwalks actually return. This is a guaranteed Shutterwalk with, if he just plays it here, he gets the Grumble back. So now he has additional 1-cost Grumble guarantee.
Okay, if he didn't freeze the Cleric, there's the chance that Bunnyhoppor actually would have died to the 4th Mind Blast being drawn.
Well, that's a 1-cost Shutterwalk. That is not
Holy Fire.
That is Holy Fire.
That's a good draw in this spot.
I don't know that can matter at this point. There's Life Drinker, Murmuring Shutterwalk for 1. I think that Bunnyhoppor is just going to chain off Shutterwalks with Life Drinker trigger starting next turn.
Shadowy thoughts.
It's possible that his hand is too full, though, is the one awkward thing. But I think that he's just going to get enough Shutterwalks remaining, because he does just burn a card that he draws, plays Life Drinker, Murmuring Shutterwalk.
Right. Yeah, his hand space could be an issue. He has too many.
That's the one concern.
He's trying to be sneaky, man. Healing Rain burned.
He knows he doesn't need the Grumble effect here, so he just gets rid of the Grumble, trades it in. Yeah, Life Drinker, Murmuring, Shudderwalk, enough room in his hand.
Yeah, that actually gave him an ability to trade.
Right.
So he can have a little bit more space in his hand. Not that it really mattered too much.
He was gonna be okay anyway, just getting to a full hand size anyway.
Jeez.
And just gonna be.
I mean, I think it's dead.
This is the Shudderwalk combo in action. It is doing every little thing. Even adds another Life Drinker to the pool.
There's just too many Shudderwalks even. And A8 was hoping that a minion would stick and deal damage for Mind Blast, but that's going to be a concession. Bunnyhoppor takes game 1 in convincing fashion. Although it actually ended up being a lot closer than you might have thought.
Yeah, I mean, that was a game that if Bunnyhoppor was a little bit later, was one turn later, then A8 did assemble what he needed. But
or if, say, he misfired on the freeze, there was even a draw for the immediate lethal there with with the 4th Mind Blast.
Because Bunnyhoppor had not played the Life Stealer at that point, Life Drink at that point, if he had drawn Mind Blast number 4, Cleric doesn't get frozen. That's exactly 23.
Yeah, would have been very crazy and quite the steal, but we've got a lot of Hearthstone left to play, and the statistics back up A8, but Bunnyhoppor looks unstoppable. So when we come back, we're going to go into Game 2 of the finals here in the Summer Championship.
I wanted to build a strategy that's good against both Even Warlock and Town Druid. So that's why I brought Miracle Rogue, Q-Block, Town Druid, and Control Priest. I had the biggest problem with the 4th deck. I was thinking about bringing Mage or maybe Shadowrock Shaman, but I didn't really feel like those decks were good for my strategy and for my playstyle, so I ended up with Control Priest. I expected some more aggro decks, so that's why I wanted to play the class, the deck. I was wrong. Healing All Day and Terna are playing like whole aggro lineups, and they're the only people in the tournaments playing that strategy. I think I'm pretty unfavored against Nargulden's lineup. He made a really smart choice of not bringing Warlock, and that was a really good idea, I think. I like Q-Block. I think it was a really good choice for the tournament just because of the amount of big spell mages and Shadowrock Shamans. I think it should be pretty good. I don't know why like only 2 or 3 people brought Q-Block to this tournament, but it's fine. Like, I'm not complaining a lot.
Thanks for cheering me on. I don't know, what do people usually say during this? I'm Bunnyhoppor. I'm from Germany and I currently live in Oslo, Norway. I like playing Hearthstone firstly because I've loved playing games since I was a child. It really appealed to me that you can build your deck, you can make a strategy, and then on the other hand, I'm also just a competitive person. I don't know if I approach the tournaments and lineup building and things like this scientifically, but I definitely love to just write down all my ideas, and usually when I prepare lineups for tournaments, I'll take out a college block and I'll just write several pages with lineups and tech cards and just random arrows on what is good against what. In terms of preparation for this tournament, I prepared again with Casey and Viper, and we've been a training group for over a year now, and we've prepared closely together. And it's been quite successful with all of us having good scores, and Casey making top 16 twice.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Summer Championship Finals. And again, another shout out to the fantastic crowd that joined us today for this epic conclusion of the first season here in 2018.
Bunnyhoppor has had a long road here, not just today in his many hours-long matches, but since he was that adorable child who's playing chess. Baby Bunnyhoppor is really cute.
That's right, yeah. Bunnyhoppor is really good at chess, and he
You
tells me
asked
that
for it.
that's the reason why he loves Hearthstone, because he finds a lot of similarities in it, especially if you're playing things like Big Spell Mage. I mean, that's got a lot of similarities through and through. But let's go into Big Spell Mage versus Cube Warlock. We've seen Big Spell Mage basically destroy even variants. What do you think about the Cube matchup?
It is a matchup that hinges very heavily on that card in A8's hand, the Skull of the Minari, and the Mage's ability to deal with it. If they don't have Skull, then you have a lot of tools like Polymorph that can easily deal with Void Lord and ultimately end up giving you the tools to stop their big combos with Cube. But if they have Skull and you don't kill it, you're gonna die.
Yeah, and unlike against even Warlock, you don't get punished that hard by a Big Spell Mage that oozes your weapon, compared to an even Warlock that might ooze and Mountain
Right.
Giant. And then you're like, oh man, I just spent all this mana doing nothing.
Right. Yeah, if you just play your Skull and they kill it, it's like, okay, I'll just play a big thing next turn. And you just start threat checking them much in the same way that even Warlock does.
Right.
You're worse at it because you don't have the one cost life tap. You just have fewer overall threats in terms of just presenting them one by one. But they are much more explosive if you do get Skull alongside them. And this is a very powerful Skull hand. Whew. Skull plus Cube plus Doomguard plus Spellsinger Umbra.
The real key will be whether or not Bunnyhoppor can land key polymorphs on things like Doomguard, because then it removes it from the pool and destroys A8's ability to combo the late game with either Blood Reaver Gul'dan or Carnivorous Cube and
What
Dark
to
Pact.
do,
And then Skulking
what
Geist
to
comes into
do.
big play with Dark Pact. And that helps influence the matchup percentages significantly. Actually, almost to the point, and this is something that, I got reminded of because I was calling out Casey a little bit for his Control Priest call out on Twitter. He ended up bringing Control Priest right after the tournament saying, I reevaluated, thought about it, protect my decks accordingly, and ended up being good. It's the same thing. Skulking Geist can single-handedly flip the matchup from a slightly unfavored to a slightly favored.
And that's something that a lot of people, when they look at statistic sites, they're like, oh, this matchup is favorable, this matchup is unfavorable. There are so many factors that go into determining that. And when you're looking at data aggregators like HS Replay or Vicious Syndicate, they are just sort of taking pools of decks that have the general same cards.
Oh, yeah.
But one card like the presence of Skulking Geist, the presence of or lack of weapon removal, can make such a big difference in how matchups go that oftentimes that data is not something you can rely on when you're looking at tournament lineups specifically.
That's right. That's right. I mean, also it's influenced by people who play the average ladder game, who are also distracted by their cats while browsing social media. They're also playing and contributing to that pool.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Bunnyhoppor with Vaporized Spellbender as an explosive runes off of this Arcane Keysmith he coined out.
Serenity tends to be decent against most of these Warlock decks, but they do have a few good cards to respond to it with Cobalt Librarian and Doomsayer.
And there's got to be a bit of fear from A8 here, because if this is a mirror, playing an 8/8 that Bunnyhoppor is just able to back up by killing your 8/8 and then pushing damage to the face is terrifying. So while A8 has a great play here with the Mountain Giant, he's definitely worried about the possibility of that giving his opponent a big minion that he can crush his face with.
That's right. So he can pivot with this Cobalt Librarian, like you said. But then what does he do after? Because if he life taps, he's committed to 10 cards and has to dump something. He can also coin out this, or actually, if he had the coin, rather, could coin out the Skull Minari, but doesn't really have an easy way to proc that secret.
I mean, there's either the Librarian or the Spirit Singer Umbra. Those are the two things you can play this turn that are not just terrifying if your opponent ends up copying them with Mirror Entity.
Or Hellfire.
All right, just gonna go with Hellfire.
Okay. So, I mean, that also helps remove a little bit of the board.
Yeah, and this takes off the threats from Bunnyhoppor and gives him a clean board, very likely, that he can play the Skull of Minari onto. There's not much Bunnyhoppor's deck does with the without the coin proactively for quite a while now. Generally, he has a second copy of Arcane Keysmith, but after this, there's basically the Skulking Geist we see in his hand until we get to 8 mana. Obviously, there's small things like Stonehill Defender and whatnot, but we see that actually a Vaporize that Bunnyhoppor took. So kind of a multiple different ways to answer a possible Doomguard or
That's
or
so
Giant.
clever, because he's hedging against the fact
He is.
that his opponent might have Skull that he can't answer.
Right.
So if it pulls a Doomguard and he attacks phase, guess what? It's
Oh, but
vaporized.
the gluttonous ooze immediately drawn by Bunnyhoppor.
Wow,
We
wow,
see
wow.
a bit of a laugh from both players as A8 slumps a little bit. That was huge. We were just talking about how individual cards can make such a difference, and what a difference that ooze made.
Oh,
no
man.
free demon here for A8. Look at his hand. That would have been Doomguard into Void Lord. Just the parade of demons stopped by one oozy boy.
I love it. Your meme game is so on point, Gimler.
I've been brushing up.
A8 now sees no Mirror, no explosive runes. So now he knows it's a secret that's either Spellbender or attacking related, either Ice Barrier or Vaporize. And with that information, what will A8 do? Could end up just playing Big Threat. I mean, I don't hate the tap Mountain Giant in this position. But then your opponent might just answer it because it's starting turn 6. He can Meteor, he can Polymorph, he can Voodoo Doll. He has almost his entire suite of removal.
One of the really scary things is your opponent can just kill your Librarian and just hide behind this Vaporize too.
Right. And even push damage. Like, this is
Yeah.
something that might be relevant because A doesn't have very good healing tools. In fact, he only has ways to damage himself.
Right, and if the Dark Pacts go, which there's the Skulking Geist we see in Bunnyhoppor's hand, all this damage just sticks until Gul'dan or Spellstones.
Right.
And the Meteor here has got to look really juicy for Bunnyhoppor. He can take out both these minions, push 3 damage. This is not a hooked Reaver deck. We have seen players hold back their minions against Warlock all weekend. That has been because of a card that is not in A8's deck. So Bunnyhoppor is free to push this damage and just try and close out the game.
Yeah. Completely agreed. Meteor looks very nice. You have 2 of them. Mountain Giant's pretty much as big as the stats get for an individual minion. And Meteor's not very useful in late game scenarios when they have multiple Void Lords, unless it's just all Void Walkers. Even then, you're not happy about it. And of course, Doomguards barely get cleaned up beside 1.
And now A8 with every demon in his hand, even if he finds a possessed lackey, he can't get a cheap demon out.
I mean, he's drawn 2 of almost everything in his deck. He's drawn 2 Cobalt Librarians, 2 Hellfires, 2 Doomguards, 2 Cubes, 2 Void Lords.
I mean, if this Skull lived, this is the greatest hand in the world.
Oh yeah, that's actually literally the nuts besides Dark Pact.
But with that ooze from Bunnyhoppor, A8 has a bunch of expensive cards, both in terms of mana cost and alternate costs in the sense of the Doomguards. This is just really rough.
I want to see this Gluttonous Zeus solo Gul'dan at this point. Gul'dan with his legendary weapon and his legion of demons that are from the underworld, the strongest, loses to a single ooze.
It's gonna call on his demon minions. Get this ooze out of the way. He's already done enough damage.
So much respect. That was a good little ooze.
Depends on your perspective.
Great job today, ooze.
Meme game on point. I like it. I like it.
All right, well, not really great minions here from Bunnyhoppor, but does have Skulking Geist. However, this is a target you do kind of want to polymorph to deny your opponent the demon pool. You could also kill it. I mean, either way, you just don't want your opponent to cube.
You've got to get rid of this. If you kill it, your opponent can't cube it at least, but it will potentially come back from Gul'dan, and the Doomguards are much scarier than Void Lords coming back from Gul'dan because, well, they'll kill you. If you just kill it, well, at least they can't cube it, but you potentially have your polymorph for a bigger threat. Yeah.
Reality.
I'm gonna go with the polymorph. Doesn't want the Gul'dan threat to be anything at all. And like I said, Void Lord, yeah, it's a big stopgap measure, but does not really deal damage quickly, and is something that Control Mage is really well suited to deal with. That is a 2/2 for 6. All 4 demons are out of the deck. That possessed lackey is a pretty awful card right here.
Yes, it is very weak in this position. I mean, A8 with all 4 demons in the hand and no Skull and Minari means that he has to play every one of his demons honestly. And the Doomguards from hand are potentially discarding very valuable cards as well.
Hellfires this down to 10.
I mean, he's setting up for the Void Lord.
Well, this is a great opportunity for Bunnyhoppor to just play this Skulkengeist. It ruins any opportunity for cube pack shenanigans. Bunnyhoppor doesn't know that all of those demons are in the hand either, so there's still the scare of a lackey pack. All the packs are gone. Now, A8's life gonna stay low. No healing from Dark Pact available.
Yep.
Ping Face is actually a pretty fast clock.
That does 10% of his health.
Yeah. Boom.
And it scales. That's scary. A8 has no heal right now.
He does have a Void Lord in the way, and there is one polymorph gone from Bunnyhoppor, so not an easy minion to kill. But again, this is not super threatening. This is a 3-power minion that doesn't attack right away. Nothing like a Doom Guard.
Yes. Stonehill Defender can pick up some pretty decent minions for in general, but he will be looking for the top end and less on minions to fit the curve. Against aggressive decks, Stonehill often just picks up a cheap taunt. Oh, okay, Trugly Meter's not the worst. It ends up threatening things like Void Lord pretty well.
Yeah, Blue Meter's okay here. You see this actually played in some of the Taunt Druid decks, including A8's version, to get with Okart because it is a strong card against high health, low attack minions. That's exactly what a Void Lord is, so not a bad opportunity for Bunnyhoppor to pick it up here.
Like that little glance from A8, see if he can pick up any information by looking over at Bunnyhoppor. But Bunnyhoppor, as stoic as the first game that he played in all tournament, he is locked in. Bloody River Gul'dan comes to the hand, but guess what? It summons a Void Lord and a Void Walker. Nothing much of substance.
It doesn't do that much, but it is a way for A8 to try to win because he's very low in life. You know, he has the hero power, which can just chip away at Bunnyhoppor's minions, at Bunnyhoppor's life total. He's not really in a position where he can life tap a ton anyway.
Right. And part of the way you can win, too, with Void Lords is to just kind of have a big board that Mage can't AoE in one go, and then just wear them down with hero power plus Void Lord attacks. Right. We've seen that be the big crux of the backup plan for a lot of Cube Warlocks.
Yeah, and I think that what we're seeing here is A8, yeah, he has the Gul'dan, but he's seen a polymorph used already. He wants to try and get a really big board from Gul'dan here and potentially get 2 Voidwalkers back. He could even get more than that thanks to the cubes.
Yeah, Doomsayer is always a liability in the face of Carnivorous Cube, so it's hard for Bunnyhoppor to figure out a time he can set up if he knows A8 could be holding his hand, and A8's been playing very awkwardly. I mean, there's been turns on turn 8 where he just basically Hellfired and passed, so he basically didn't do anything for 8 mana.
Yeah, Hellfire your 1/2 is a play that is indicative of a fairly difficult hand to use. Yes. All right, well, this does mean that there are now 3 Voidwalkers and 2 Void Lords if this does die. Bunnyhoppor could just play a Doomsayer here, but there's nothing big on the board, no threat of cube. All right, Hungry Etten, fairly large minion.
Oh, yeah.
And now this Gul'dan could get back. It's not guaranteed because there are 3 dead Voidwalkers. So there could actually just be 1 Void Lord, but a pretty decent chance of both Void Lords coming here if he does decide to play it. And it's Gul'dan time, so we will see just how big this board is.
2 Void Lords.
Both Void Lords.
But I mean, Bunnyhoppor was kind of expecting something along these lines.
Voodoo Doll can be used to remove one of them and deny the Death Rattle if he so chooses.
Yes.
He also just has the potential of Blizzard Doomsayer, but again, Doomsayer very scary to play into a possible Carnivorous Cube.
I wonder.
Hungry Etten has no downside right now. It's pretty nice, but I don't know if it does anything much because A8 can continue to fill the board with Voidwalkers and non-stop taunts.
What to do?
I definitely like the idea of killing the Void Lords in the most efficient way possible without second Polymorph or another way to snipe the second Void Lord. It seems like A8's going to get value at least off 1.
Time runs out on
That
me.
said, the Void Walkers are not that impactful. They certainly are going to mitigate this this Vaporize that Bunnyhoppor has had up since turn 3.
Right.
Not really getting max value there, but
You could send the Skulking Geist into the 3/9 to set up an AoE.
he is going to Doomsayer. Okay, well, this is an interesting position because A8 does have a full board. So, if he wanted to, he could just hero power one of his own minions and Q.
I love that play. It's very unintuitive to usually hero power your own minions in a matchup where you want to pressure their life total.
And that would end up giving him 2 Void Walkers that come out after the Doomsayer
So
pops.
many bloody decisions.
You could also just kill the Doomsayer here, I believe.
Yeah, that too. But does his board get better if he keeps?
Right. He ends up having 2 large minions rather than a bunch of small minions against a deck with a bunch of AoE that is excellent against small minions.
With full trades, it looks like he's going to go for that play.
Oh, he's just spell break.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. So rather than use the cube here, he is going to feed a Void Walker. Interesting. He could have just attacked and not had to hit his own minion, right? If he just attacked into.
Oh, right. If he knew it was Vaporize.
Yeah.
But it could have been Ice Barrier. He had yet to attack.
It could have, but it's a little bit of a missequence there because there's no reason not to attack first, test for it, and then use your hero power.
True.
I wonder.
Bunnyhoppor, not interested in dealing with all these Void Walkers. Also removes the second Void Lord, which means Q can't hit it anymore. And that means, once again, if A8 wants any Demon Presence, he's going to have to play Doomguard from the hand. And TJ talks about this a lot. The win rate of Q block, even before it got nerfed, plummeted significantly when Doomguard was ever played from the hand. And I can't imagine how much worse it is now when you have less healing options and Possessed Lackey comes out later.
I mean, there are a lot of relatively low impact cards in A8's hand. You know, the Defile, the Possessed Lackey, the Spellstone, not very important in this matchup. So there's some decent fuel for A8 to get rid of. He just really doesn't want to discard the cubes and the faceless here. Gonna go for it.
Yeah, I like it.
Looks like it is. All right, one cube and Defile. And now he's gonna go, it looks like he's gonna go with cube here. He's gonna say, you do not have the Polymorph. I'm gonna cube this Doomguard.
Oh, man.
All right, and he is correct. Bunnyhoppor has no Polymorph in the hand. Finds Jaina.
But he could get it with Raven Familiar.
That is a possibility. Jaina would bring him to 21 against a board that currently deals 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yes.
But there is also the Prince Taldaram that can copy the cube and put be hero powered to put into play 2 Doomguard. So that actually is +7. So that'd be 17, which Jaina survives. All right,
Raven Familiar for the Polymorph.
Familiar.
No!
Fury does not find Polymorph. That cube sticks.
But he can Blizzard, which makes it difficult for A8 to pop his own cube.
Well,
Sort of.
It makes it difficult for him to pop that cube. But A8's got Faceless. A8's got Prince Taldaram. He has ways to make more cubes. That is Godfrey. He can Taldaram... I believe Taldaram Godfrey is just lethal, right? Taldaram the cube, Godfrey... As long as the Doomguards themselves do not die, which I don't think they do. There's a 1, there's a 4.
Whoa, wait. Doom...
No.
Okay.
They will not die. They will have 1 health, I believe.
Okay, you're right.
No, they
I
fought.
was
Never
looking
mind.
at Doomsayer
There it is.
potentially activating, and A8 picks up the Lord Godfrey. And what a creative way to pop your Carnivorous cubes even after Skulking Geist was played.
Yeah, and you mentioned that the win rate plummets when Doomguard is played, but the win rate can't be higher. If you don't play your Doomguard, you can't win. So.
The win rate from that, if you don't play Doomguard, is 0.
Yeah, you're not gonna win that game
Yeah.
if you don't play that Doomguard. And A8 manages to find a line to get a lot of Doomguards attacking Bunnyhoppor and gets that deck that so many have struggled with and so many doubted through that big spell mage.
And I can't emphasize enough how important it was for A to get that win, because if he dropped that one, a favorable matchup for his Cube Warlock, he'd be in big trouble trying to go up against the last deck of Taunt Druid from Bunnyhoppor.
Yeah, Taunt Druid here is a deck that A8 could potentially struggle with. He does have that Priest remaining, which we have seen have some difficulties getting wins against Taunt Druid. The stats, of course, say that it will struggle against Taunt Druid, but as we mentioned a number of times, statistics lie. When you have numbers, they do. They flat out do. People can use them to say what they want in many cases, but they do not represent necessarily the impact of a player's tech choices and play decisions on those matchups. But it will not be that matchup here. It will be the Big Spell Mage against the Priest.
Big Spell Mage versus Control Priest. This matchup is supposedly pretty even. I wonder if any of the tech cards come into play here, though.
I will tell you what cards come into play in this matchup. Anduin and Jaina. These are the most important cards by far
those are
for
great
the two
tech
players.
cards.
They are.
I'll put those tech cards in all my decks.
Frankly, if Bunnyhoppor finds Jaina early and is able to start gaining life to mitigate the damage that A8 is pushing through with minions and using Shadow Reaper Anduin, he will be in a very good spot. If he does not find Jaina quickly, the chip damage that A8 will be able to get in, combined with the burst damage that he's able to assemble late in the game, will just finish him off. There are, of course, things that happen in between, but that's the overall arc of the game.
Oh, yeah. Kibler is basically giving you the ending of this arc, this little saga we have. But there's a lot of build up to it. If we can get to that stage of Shadow Reaper Anduin and Jaina, they will be the influential factors on who gains an edge and potentially the victory.
One of the key things here is the Priest deck's better at drawing cards. The Mage deck doesn't have access to Arcane Intellect. It has the Novice Engineer, but Novice Engineer is a little bit awkward to play here when your opponent plays a Northshire Cleric, and that Cleric has a lot more tools to help draw cards in the form of Wild Pyromancer and Divine Hymn and similar things.
A little bit of a correction, misreading the decks. A8's the one with the Taunt Druid. Bunnyhoppor has even Warlock.
Yeah.
Just for clarity.
Actually, that's an interesting point. He's not going to have to go up against that matchup at all. The Warlock is actually a much easier matchup for the Priest.
Yes.
And
in contrast.
yes, absolutely. And the Taunt Druid from A8 is a deck that Bunnyhoppor does have excellent tools with, guys. So this Priest deck, even if it does get through, is not the last line for him. The Taunt Druid will still have to succeed, and that may be an uphill struggle. I really like this sequence from A8 here. It may look a little bit weird. It's like, oh, these are your card draw combos. Why are you just playing them out on the board? Bunnyhoppor can't kill anything. Bunnyhopper's first removal spell is Polymorph. So this gives A8 an opportunity to, at bare minimum, coin and heal if he chooses to do that, or just coin with his Acolyte of Pain, or just force a Polymorph from Bunnyhoppor on a small minion on turn 4.
Yeah, the card draw is so threatening from A8 that Bunnyhoppor won't even play any minions into this board. It forces A8 to utilize his coin or a spell in order to get any draw off. And A8 does have ability to draw at his disposal, either with Acolyte of Pain or utilizing the existing Wild Pyromancer and Northshire Cleric.
Pain, speak to me.
And this is that recognition. You have no 4-cost AoE. You have nothing that punishes me here. If you polymorph and hit my Acolyte of Pain, okay, I can start drawing coin into, or potentially just like coin into heal, into Shadow Visions.
Right.
Get myself some more cards.
So now A8's saying, okay, well, I hope I have Divine Hymn off the Shadow Visions, because if I don't, then I only draw 1 card. I guess in the end, you don't draw that many.
Yep.
1 versus 2.
It draws 2. Looks like that is Divine Hymn on the left, I believe, yes.
Dang, you're so good at that card puzzle.
You took Mind Blast, okay. And this is recognition. Mind Blast is crucial. He needs to assemble those. The card draw does matter, but the card draw matters insofar as it gets you to your damage and your Mind Blast. That said, Anduin is still the most important card. So I am, I guess not surprised he didn't take that, because he could just hero power and draw 1 rather than expend a card and draw 2.
Need a key?
All right, Mana Bind, Runes, and Vaporize. Not super impactful in this matchup.
Yeah, I mean, Vaporize and Explosive Runes help deal with the board a little bit. Mana Bind, when your opponent has the coin, is not going to be useful.
Or is it? Mana Bind getting a coin when what can often matter is quickly playing Jaina is potentially relevant. He takes Mana Bind.
Oh, actually, he could coin out Barongeddon.
And he doesn't even need to coin necessarily. If he gets a Shadow Visions off of this, that's extremely strong.
Oh, Shadow Visions in this deck is sick. Yeah, all right, I'm down with the Mana Bind. I'm down.
Well, A8 does have the potential to test with coin if he wants, or just play a Shadow Visions. He does have to wonder, okay, well, if it is a spell influencing card, he would probably go to thinking about Counterspell first, because, you know, okay, well, if you get, I don't want to get my Shadow Visions countered, so I'd rather play my coin first. And either way, it also sort of plays into the Mana Bind as well. All right, it is not a Vaporize. It is not an Ice Barrier. So he knows it's spell-related.
And test for Mirror Entity, so I think he knows it's spell-oriented at this point. Bunnyhoppor picks up removal, and now Bunnyhoppor can kind of shave off all the damage on the board and start the game effectively at half-life.
Yeah, and all of this damage from these early minions matters a huge deal. Because you know, Bunnyhoppor does have armor gain in the form of Arcane Artificer, but generally he's rarely going to have more than one spell cast with that, so losing that much of his life really hurts until he does find that Jaina we mentioned is so crucial.
I mean, if he gets a couple more points of burst, he just has to hit with a minion one time.
Yeah, there's one Mind Blast available, potentially a second one with the Shadow Visions. A8 can just Cabal this.
I wonder.
He just wants the stickiest minion try to hit base one time.
Yeah. I guess Cabal is similarly vulnerable to Meteor. And there's another Meteor.
The thing that does mess up a lot of the math is things like the Arcane Artificer and how they can add armor count. So Bunnyhoppor definitely has that nice tool in his back pocket if he wants to use Meteor. Could think about that. Does end up playing into things like Dustbreaker and Cabal Shadow Priest. But at least you gain the armor.
Right, those don't hurt that much, and gaining 6 here, if he does use the Artificer Meteor, is pretty valuable. Oftentimes you may want to try to hold your Artificer until after you've been Alexstrasza, but at this point he's at 16 anyway. It's kind of the same as having been Alexstrasza, just because he took so much early damage from the minions. There is a Duskbreaker. And there's still a Twilight Acolyte in A8's hand, so the Duskbreaker is likely a more attractive call than using a Cabal here, because he has the combination of Acolyte plus Cabal if Bunnyhoppor were to, say, play a Lich King or a Syndragosa.
This coin will activate Mana Bind. Finally sees that there's no counter spell. Dustbreaker.
Valuable information, and this does give a coin over to Bunnyhoppor, who does not have Jaina in his hand.
Today, trying to get board presence to put pressure on his opponent. Maybe use Mind Blast to finish the game.
All right, well, Meteor can kill both of these for Bunnyhoppor, and he has a Doomsayer to follow up. To buy himself a free turn. Not clear that a free turn is necessarily that big of a deal for him at this point, because he doesn't have particularly strong development, but he doesn't know that A8 doesn't have strong development. Gonna go ahead and Novice Engineer. Skulking Geist.
There'll be decent development afterwards, but for now he's just gonna deal with the threat. Knows that this is Shadow Rebranduin turn. Not quite the 8 mana card A8 would love to have, but still a decent option at this point, because
put the body on the board.
2 meteors have been used. This is one of your heavier minions.
Yeah. Does put a body on the board here, and you have been clocking Bunnyhoppor every single out. There is the Drake.
Double Doomsayer. So this actually gives Bunnyhoppor extended extra turns, so to speak.
There is the interesting situation if Bunnyhoppor does play out, say, several minions, including a Doomsayer, to try to build himself a window. That Psychic Scream from A8 putting cards that are not Jaina into Bunnyhoppor's deck delays him from the possibility of reaching his most important card.
True.
He clearly would have played Jaina by this point. So that is something that needs to be on both players' mind.
Second Mind Blast.
Well, that does mean it finds...
Is that Holy Fire?
Holy Fire. Whew. All right, well, that is a lot of potential burst over a few turns. There is 22 life for Bunnyhoppor, but there is still no Anduin. Doomsayer goes off. Voodoo Doll in the hand. Skulkengeist has to be at least reasonably attractive to get rid of Powered Shields as they are in A8's hand. Though, thinking about it, that's a weird card in a matchup like this, because yes, you can get rid of Powered Shields from your opponent's hand, but you also just put them closer to their most important card, which is Anduin.
Yep, but it is 1 mana cycle, so it doesn't feel...
It rarely is a card that you know does not advance you anyway. But
Yeah.
It does give you the free mana, and if there isn't a target on the board, you don't have anything to Powered Shield, and that does delay you from being able to actually get to that key card.
Yeah, I can totally see that.
A8 would love to draw either Anduin or a dragon here. He could potentially just swap this over. Well, this is a board that he may want a Psychic Scream, just to get 2 cards that are not Jaina into Bunnyhoppor's deck. There is, of course, always the risk of Dragoncaller Alana, and given the fact that A8 does not have a dragon, something like a Lich King is terrifying, because he could face a Lich King into an Alana and then have no answers if he did use his Psychic Scream here.
Yeah, and with Shadow Visions both used at this point, and of course both Psychic Screams in hand, he has to be very judicious with both copies of Psychic Scream at this moment. So this is a little bit tough position. At the same time, is A8 okay taking damage even? Saying, you know what? All right, you can do
Is someone injured?
what you want.
Yes, look at this. He recognizes that Cleric is basically useless now. He's already gone through both of his Pyromancers. He just wants to keep Bunnyhoppor.
Bam!
Yeah.
That's
Worked out.
a great play.
That's not a Jaina, and that is exactly what A8 is trying to prevent. He wants to get to Anduin before Bunnyhoppor gets to Jaina. The more cards he stuffs into Bunnyhoppor's deck, the fewer cards that he can draw that actually do anything.
But if A8 doesn't draw things like his Shadow Reaper Anduin, I mean, he's kind of stuck in the same position-ish, where he just can't really deal with the 4/6. Ooh, A8 picks up the
That's a
9.
Divine Hymn. And with both Clerics gone, that is just 2 mana heal 6. No possibility to draw cards.
Oh, it's not gone, Gibbler. It just changed allegiances.
It's true. No possibility to draw him cards.
He is Cabal Shadow Priest, Gibbler.
Okay. We can assemble Voltron, and then...
We can build him stronger.
This is like the
faster,
strictly better argument. It's like, oh, it's not strictly
Generally.
better. Your opponent could have...
We have the ultimate weapon.
All right.
Holy fire to the face. Past deal 5 anyways.
Flame Strike. That's not a Jaina.
It's not. And Bunnyhoppor is starting to get a little scared, but he knows at least, you know, Shadow Reaper Anduin isn't on the table. Baron Geddon is quite the threat, but you
can't damage yourself.
Yeah, you don't want to kill yourself, plus your own board, plus your opponent can easily deal
I
with
think that was another Divine Hymn.
it. These draws.
And I mean, I said this going in. There are stages of the game that matter, and then there's what really matters, and that's the Death Knights. And
Yes.
neither player has found their Death Knight. A8 has been maneuvering to try to reduce Bunnyhoppor's chance of finding his Death Knight.
Oh boy.
Colorana, okay, that's got to be at least somewhat attractive for Bunnyhoppor because he has seen a Psychic Scream. If there were an Anduin, it clearly would have come down.
Right.
So there has to be second Psychic Scream in order to answer this, or he could potentially represent, you know, huge threat, maybe even lethal damage. That said, if this gets Psychic Screamed, that's a bunch of cards that are not Jaina in his deck.
Unless he can push the issue with some other threats like Baron Geddon perhaps, but that's kind of a gamble. It's a gamble.
Baron Geddon has to be terrifying to play here. He's at 17. There have been several Shadow Visions and cards that have not been played. All right, there's a
Here we
Lana.
go.
That's 3 dragons. A8. He's got that Psychic Scream. Those dragons, I imagine, are going to go in the deck.
He's got to pull it, but that's the second Psychic Scream. So if Bunnyhoppor happens to draw a 1 out of 21.
There are 20 cards that are not Jaina. That's Lich King.
Good.
That's scary.
That's scary for many reasons, because Bunnyhoppor can also get it stolen.
Yeah.
If the dragon comes into A8's hand,
A8 does have 0 copies of Shadow Word Death, so the only thing that can happen to this at this point is it gets Shadow Reaper Anduin, which is horrible anyway, or it gets stolen. So A8 needs to draw a dragon or an Anduin here. Death Grip.
there's not many substantial minions. One minion that could help a lot is Alexstrasza that he could take.
Alexstrasza would do 1 damage. Oh, you mean for Bunnyhoppor?
No, just to disarm.
With Death Grip, sure.
Yeah, yeah.
He could use Alexstrasza offensively, yes.
Oh, wait, hold on. Actually, I want to ask a question. Outside of Alexstrasza, is there any other dragons remaining? We saw...
There's a Duskbreaker
There's a Duskbreaker left? Okay.
That's the 3rd Mind Blast.
Oh, jeez.
A8 is 2 damage off lethal here.
Yeah, we're definitely not playing very good. Oh,
Jaina!
he gets the Frostless Jaina! That was a magnum draw, Kibler. I promise, Admirable.
I was just going to stare at you until you said something, because I was not responding.
I will accept those terms.
And we see a little look to the sky from A8. He did all he could to stop the Frost Lich from coming down, but here she is with 1 watery boy. I'm just going to keep using that one.
Oh, he's slippery, all right.
All right, Ed. That's a dragon. So this is an interesting spot because A8 can use the Twilight Acolyte now. He can use Twilight Acolyte to steal the Water Elemental if he wants, because that will remove the life steal ability on a Bunnyhoppor side at least. But this is all going south pretty quickly because Bunnyhopper's at 22.
If he steals the Water Elemental, I mean, there's still a guaranteed Water Elemental on the other side. So
But it doesn't attack yet. And it also means there are 3 minions on Bunnyhopper's side.
Let me change your mind.
And also, if Lich King doesn't die, then Bunnyhoppor still gets swept by a Shadow Reaper Anduin.
Right. Bunnyhoppor had 21 cards in his deck and drew Jaina. A8 has 6 and is still looking for Anduin. You see a bit of frustration on his face at that fact.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially when the matchup is so predicated on having their big bomb of Death Knights to carry them in the late game. And I will tell you that there is no chance for Bunnyhoppor to lose the fatigue game, so it has to come down to the burst from A8. And with that armor count, that also is going to be really valuable long-term for Bunnyhoppor.
It is.
Because then he can heal up to 36.
No.
There's 22 for Bunnyhoppor. I think he trades here, because otherwise 4 Mind Blasts are lethal. And he does.
There
That's
it is.
Anduin. Is it too late, though? There's
I don't think so.
There's Baron Geddon on the other side.
I think it's too late, but it's going to be tough.
This is going to be a close one now. Jaina came 1 turn earlier, but Anduin is here now. Pings to the face. 20 life, 3 Mind Blasts in hand, but there's a Water Elemental.
And there's actually a really clever way for Bunnyhoppor to get another Water Elemental by playing Doomsayer, Voodoo Dolling it, and then pinging it off. Otherwise, he has to target his own Water Elemental.
He does. Here, Bunnyhopper's going to try and navigate, okay, how am I going to make this work here? Finds Twilight Acolyte. All right. He has a dragon in his hand. He can use it. The Fire Dragon. Active.
Oh, yeah. I love Dragon Big Spell Mage, man. It's so sick.
I mean, I do.
Just tossing a Scale Worm or 2 in there.
I miss like Illuminator,
Actually, okay,
Blackwing Corruptor.
All memes aside, Dragon Control Mage has a few tools off from being really sick, as you have Syndragosa as a really powerful dragon tool late game.
I really wanted to do nothing but discover Syndragosa with Netherfell Historian.
Yeah.
But Bunnyhoppor wants to do nothing but make Water Elementals. They will keep his life total high up to 23 out of range.
It's maximum damage, 19 right now.
He could do 22 with 4 Mind Blasts, but he actually has drawn
both Shadow Visions.
Right.
He got Holy Fire.
Yeah, he got Holy Fire. So these are this is his max Mind Blast damage. There's no 4th Mind Blast available, and Bunnyhoppor knows that.
And it doesn't look like he has a clear on these water elementals because they need to be at 5 health for the perfect Dustbreaker clear.
And every turn that A8 does not clear water elemental is further and further away he is from being able to actually kill Bunnyhoppor.
But he's got to get it done somehow.
And his ability to burst is also threatened by that Baron-Geddon in Bunnyhoppor's hand.
The Twilight Acolyte lets him draw, or lets him get a water elemental again.
Oh, it does.
That's insane.
He can Acolyte, bump, make a water elemental.
Fire Dragon.
And Fire Dragon's kind of big here.
Yeah, it's a 5/5 after Anduin's played. I don't mind 5-mana 5/5s at this stage of the game.
Both Psychic Screams are gone. A8 tried to use them to preemptively prevent Jaina from coming down. That didn't work. So now, Bunnyhoppor, with Anduin gone, with Psychic Screams gone, he can just play everything to the board and A8 cannot clear it. I don't know that there's a way for A8 to come back from this at this point. Water Elemental coming up, replacing himself. Fire Dragon coming down. 26 is the life total for Bunnyhoppor. Just keeps getting further out of range. That's Alex Strauss, but there's armor too. There's armor on Bunnyhoppor's side, so it would put him to 19. There's a water elemental on his side. That puts him back to 22, out of range.
Oh, yeah, you're right. If that armor wasn't there, maybe could set up some kind of checkmate scenario, force Bunnyhoppor to have the second Artificer.
Yeah, if that armor wasn't there, the Mind Blast win the game the next turn.
I mean, we were talking about how the armor could be really crucial, but I didn't expect it to be at this exact juncture where A8 could hypothetically have been in a lethal setup. And right now, Bunnyhoppor looks like he's going to set up a second Water Elemental. Of course, we know that he had Baron-Geddon as a Hail Mary to regain life. Polymorph has the ability to coin out the Fire Dragon as well, put up maximum pressure. A8 is looking devastated. What is the remaining cards in A8's deck? What can even save him?
There isn't anything. This is too far, too gone. The Water Elementals are marching to victory. Jaina is leading them. Bunnyhoppor is looking to take a lead in this match. Divine Hymn can delay the inevitable, but there's no stopping the Frost Lich.
So there's 16 on board. You don't die to a hero power. You die to Baron-Geddon, but you don't play around that. I think if you go for 9 damage with Holy Fire, you put it. No, that's it. He's not even going to try to figure it out at this point. A8 concedes. Bunnyhoppor 1 game away from claiming the Summer Championship.
And if you're A8, that's gotta hurt because he planned around trying to delay that Jaina. He even threw a Northshire Cleric into a Psychic Scream of just a couple of minions on the board just to stuff cards into Bunnyhoppor's deck, but Bunnyhoppor was not to be denied. Jaina came first, and that was a tough hill for A8 to climb back from. He could not do it.
Yeah, but at the same time, he was immediately rewarded with another Skulking Geist draw, so you can show that it did have an impact that turn, just not the turns after where he drew Lich King into Dragon Call Honor into Frost Lich Jaina. That was really tough.
It did not work out for him. I always find that when I Psychic Scream my opponent's stuff, they just draw it immediately, but I don't want them to. It's like, it's just Psychic Scream that King Crush, and he hit me in the face again.
Well, A8 told us one thing before an interview, during the interview, before this entire tournament started. He said that he doesn't care if he wins the entire championship as long as he played well. And I think if he's playing to his outs, and it seems like he is, then A8 still can be putting on a very performance that he's proud of. In the meantime, we're going to get ready for game number 4, so don't go anywhere. The conclusion of this grand finals may be upon us when we return to the Summer Championship.
Hey, I'm 83, I'm from Poland, but I'm currently living and studying in Germany. I actually had to make a break from the university just to play Hearthstone to prepare for tournaments, but I want to come back and study. The family was pretty skeptic, like negative from the beginning, but then I started making some real money, and that's why they started supporting me. And now they're supporting me a lot, and I really appreciate that.
Bunnyhoppor has conceded. A8 is going to the Summer Championships.
I think Hearthstone was pretty easy for me from the time when I started playing it.
It's an incredible feeling, of course. I think I've never felt so good in my entire Hearthstone career. It's incredible.
I went to the first LAN tournament and I won this one, so I was correct. And then I started competing in more tournaments. I achieved some pretty nice results, and that's why I became competitive. I didn't know that I will get like recognized in Hearthstone. That's why I typed something totally random. Then I just went to a tournament in Poland, like 64 people. I won this tournament surprisingly, and then everybody was knowing me, and it didn't feel like really changing the nickname after that.
We have forgotten what makes us strong.
I'm Bunnyhoppor. I'm from Germany and I currently live in Oslo, Norway. I like playing Hearthstone firstly because I've loved playing card games since I was a child. My family and friends, they're overall supportive of me playing Hearthstone as an esport, but they're all very clear about what my number one priority should be in my life, that being my PhD and future work in the chemical sector.
And that's going to do it. You guys have gone over it 1,000 times already. Bunnyhoppor is moving on to the Europe Winter Championship. What a ride for him.
In order to balance playing professionally and working a full-time job, I think you just generally have to accept that you're not going to be able to put in as much time and preparation and playing ladder and different things as other professional players. But you have to be confident in yourself that in the less time that you have, you can still make up for the training that others are getting in more time, trying to be a little bit more effective where others do not need to be effective. I actually don't have a good answer for how I balance my work and my professional gaming life because it's almost impossible to do both correctly at the same time. A little sleep is part of the answer, but that's definitely not an ideal solution.
Bunnyhoppor one game away from claiming the title of the Summer Champion of 2018 and finish what he started 2 years ago in the 2016 Winter Championship, where he said he was a much weaker player, and now he's much more experienced. Let's go into game number 4, Taunt Druid versus Even Warlock. It's a matchup where the more I watch it, the less I'm convinced that Even Warlock has a chance, but we'll see. I mean, a couple of Even Warlocks have been able to bring it home, and it's largely because we've seen so many of those Taunt Druids win anyways. Yeah, you can Skulk and Geist. Yeah, you can play your Mountain Giants, but they naturalize one time before you get to Skulk and Geist. What do you do after that?
Yeah, the Naturalize is really one of the truly key cards. Controlling Druid decks often struggle with early big minions, and Mountain Giant is about as early and big as they get. But Naturalize gives you a way to clear that off for just 1 mana, and I imagine that's what we will see A8 hope to draw in the early turns. I believe he already mulliganed, so does not have one in his opening hand.
Bunnyhoppor has a lead, but his hardest matchups are coming up here against Taunt Druid and against Control Breeze. Those are 2 matchups that are favored for A8, but Bunnyhoppor still has the edge, just has to win one of these. And we all have seen the power of Even Warlock.
All right, well, there's a Giant.
And there you go.
And you know, we have seen Bunnyhoppor navigate all of his decks, really, at both a very high level and a very deliberate pace. But that Mountain Giant is a card that can end games very quickly if unanswered, and A8 right now does not have an answer.
I really like that Bunnyhoppor took time to think if he wants to play something on turn 2, because he knows that if he wants to go super next level, he anticipates Naturalize, so his Mountain Giant will get cheaper anyways. So if he plays Twilight Drake, for example, even as just a 4/7, it could be problematic for the Druid to deal with. But in the end, at its core, you don't really bank on your opponent keeping those Naturalized. They want Wild Growth, Nourish, Mash, Okar. That's what they're mainly looking for.
This is actually a little bit of an interesting situation for Bunnyhoppor. He can choose to tap now and play a 2-drop, and then still play his his Giant next turn.
Right. And no Wild Growth is a really big difference maker too, because then he doesn't have to worry about the direct Oaken summons.
Yeah, A8 does have the Nourish, but does not have the Wild Growth leading up to it, so he's going to have a little bit of a slower start here. And you know, as we've mentioned several times now, the lack of Naturalize does mean that he is going to be without an answer to an early Giant. Ooh, that's another big draw for Bunnyhoppor there. Skulkengeist is one of the key cards that he has chosen to play for this particular matchup.
Yes, that is huge. That is what helps you tilt this matchup in your favor. Those kinds of tech cards. Specifically, Skulkengeist, one of the strongest tech cards you can put in your deck because how much it swings percentages.
Bunnyhoppor even has the Black Knight in his deck as well. We've seen that in several of his decks, and that has proven to be a stone cold killer against a lot of these Taunt Druid decks. If you do get a lead and you're able to tempo them out, kill their big Taunt minion, and develop a minion of your own, this is a pressure matchup. You're not playing control at all as the Warlock in this matchup. Lots of people think of even Warlock as some sort of controlling deck because they're used to Warlock playing as a controlling deck when it's not due. But that's not it. It is a mid-range deck that is looking to smash face, and a second Giant drawn for Bunnyhoppor is going to do a lot of smashing since A8 still does not have a single Naturalize.
Bunnyhoppor has pretty much everything he wants in this matchup. Skulkengeist, threats. I think one last thing, like you mentioned, may be that Black Knight or Silence or some way to push damage in case there's a wall in the way. And I mean, his opponent might do that for him if he naturalizes. So Bunnyhoppor has an opportunity to play Mountain Giant here, not tap. If his opponent naturalizes, he will burn only one card.
The card burn is just so irrelevant is the thing. A lot of people think, oh, well, you can protect yourself from card burn here. It's not really what Bunnyhoppor's worried about. Burning cards, they might as well be at the bottom of your deck. It gives your opponent a little bit of information about you do and don't have access to, but you'd actually just rather life tap and deal damage to yourself even if you get naturalized, so you're closer to Hooked Reaver.
That does make sense, too, given that he has Mountain Giant #2, so he could play a 3-mana card and a 2-mana card. Another justification is if you have one Mountain Giant, one Twilight Drake, most likely you're going to play Twilight Drake tap anyways next turn. So you might as well make sure that you don't give your opponent that extra resource if you don't have to.
Oaken Summons gets a little bit of armor and an Ironwood Golem here for A8, but that does not do much against an 8/8.
Bunnyhoppor has that Mountain Giant #2 primed and ready to go.
He even has Mountain Giant into Stubborn Gastropod, which allows him to potentially preemptively answer the next taunt that the A8 plays.
Yeah, assuming he does play a taunt even. This is coming up on a Nourish turn, and you saw your opponent save the coin. It's actually kind of flooring how slow this Druid is without ramp. I mean, look at the presence on this board. No answer from A8.
He's got Nourish. He can build up to something, but that something's not close to enough just yet. There's, what is that, almost 20 damage. There is, in fact, 20 damage on Bunnyhoppor's side of the board.
Yep, Bunnyhoppor has 3-turn lethal from the previous turn.
Now, no, if you can set up 3-turn lethal.
Yeah, you absolutely should. You should go for it. 8 not even attacking.
And he could even just play Skulkengeist and shut down any
Wow.
plus Naturalized shenanigans. This is just a absolute march to victory for Bunnyhoppor here. We've talked about how he's played these careful, deliberative games in all the games leading up to this point, but right now he is just running over A8-3.
I like the Skulkengeist, but Bunnyhoppor, again, not autopiloting outside of the attacks. Knows he can't buff his attack anyways. But I'd be hard-pressed to find an argument against Skulkengeist. I guess the opponent's held on to coins, so it could be a Coin Master O card. How does he react to that? He doesn't have any Silence or Black Knight, so that could be what's on his mind. But honestly, if he plays a Master O card, I think you kill him anyways because you have the Stubborn Gastropod.
Yeah, the Gastropod is such a powerful answer to any taunt that's coming up here. All right, just gonna put maximum power on the board. Twilight Drake, Sunfree Protector, A8, maybe on his last draw. The Primordial Drake can kill the Gastropod, but there's still so much power behind it.
Primordial Drake plus the Spellstone will barely keep him alive on the board with 12 showing.
Bunnyhoppor can do better than the board.
But Bunnyhoppor will easily get past it with Hellfire. Branching pass. Digging for naturalizes.
He needs it.
Finds one. A8 knows he's in a tough spot. No second naturalize. That's it! Bunnyhoppor wins 3-1 and becomes your 2018 Summer Champion.
And we see the confetti rain down on the winner. A smile from A8 as well. He fought hard to get here. But Bunnyhoppor is the one who is victorious at the end of the day. PhD and champion, 2 titles in one summer.
And finished off a quest that he started in 2016 to redeem himself for his performances back in that winter season where Naaman and Dr. Hippie, who would later become his teammates on Virtus Pro, end up stealing the spotlight for that year, and perhaps for the next couple of years. But now Bunnyhoppor can finally get recognition, never missing a playoffs or a prelims, being consistent out the wazoo at every kind of tournament outside of HCT and inside HCT. Well played.
Absolutely. Incredible lineup that he prepared with Viper, who he had to defeat in the semifinals to get here.
All right, well, Cora is waiting with our champion.
That's right. We have crowned our Hearthstone Championship Tour Summer Champion, and it is Bunnyhoppor from Germany. Bunnyhoppor, I've asked you this question, I think 4 times so far this tournament. You are the only undefeated player in match record, and you are the HCT Summer Champion. How does it feel?
Amazing. I didn't think it was possible.
Well, clearly it is possible, man. I mean, coming into this, did you have any inkling because you were here in 2016? Obviously, a lot has changed since then. You've grown a lot, you've played a lot. Did you think that this had to be your time? Or were you worried that history was going to repeat itself?
I was worried that history was going to repeat itself, but also I was hoping it's my time because, yeah, like we heard in the media pieces before, I have some other very big things I have to take care of for the next few months, and I felt like I probably won't be able to prepare as well as I was able to do for this tournament, at least for the next 6 months, and that's why I'm super happy I could make it.
Well, I know the European region, all of your fans out there have to be so, so excited for you. Final question, what does it mean to you to have all the confetti coming down to be the HCT Summer Champion? Is this the best moment of your Hearthstone career so far?
It's definitely the best moment of my Hearthstone career, 100%, yes.
Awesome. Well, congratulations again. And we have a very important man who would like to congratulate you and say some words. The CEO and co-founder of Blizzard. Let's welcome Mr. Mike Morheim to the stage.
First, I just want to thank everybody for coming out and supporting Hearthstone Esports. Congratulations to all the competitors, but especially congratulations to our summer champion. Proud to present you with our trophy. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, well, we have crowned our HCT Summer Champion. It is Bunnyhoppor from Germany. We have 3 other players who have qualified as well. We have Viper, a fellow player from Germany. We have A83650. And, of course, from the Americas region, it's Killin' all day. Our 4 players who have qualified and will be playing in the Hearthstone World Championships. But that is going to be it for the Hearthstone Summer Championships. Thank you so much for joining us, and make sure you stick around for a special preview of the Hearthstone documentary, The Tour. Thank you all so much, and have a great night.